All right, we are here with Mr. Oscar Miehls, resident of Toledo, and we're going to get some of his family history, family oral history, and he's going to tell us all about, he's already got stuff on World War II on another CD, so show you DVD, we'll have to see that. But anyway, Mr. Miehls, you were born in Toledo, and what kind of memories you have of growing up here?
Well, I was born in St. Vincent, the old St. Vincent.
Oh, okay.
And my mother, well, I might as well start from the beginning. My dad and my mother were married in Detroit, and then they came back to Toledo, and they were married at the chapel. And they decided to move to Detroit. So they went up to Detroit, and my dad worked at the air reduction sales. I think it's liquid oxygen.
Oh, okay.
So he was a assistant superintendent. Well, unfortunately, there was a fire. There was a small fire in the plant. So everybody evacuated okay, except my dad. And the only way they can tell was just by some of his employers, or their employees. Everybody exited the building, and they saw him go back in, and nobody knew why. Well, he got on the inside of the building, and the building exploded. And he was killed instantly. I guess he was buried with a lot of rubble. And my mom lived close by, and she said she heard the blast. It was a terrific blast. So she came right over, and well, she was 20 years old, and she was pregnant with me. So luckily, her family was here in Toledo. They lived in the old West End on Boston Place. So two of my uncles went up to Detroit and brought my mom back. And she stayed at them until I was 3 years old.
Oh, okay.
And then she married Mr. Miehls, and then he adopted me. Okay. And I have 2 sisters and a brother.
Okay. Now, what's your original last name?
Arndt.
Art?
Arndt.
Oh, the Arndt from Arndt's?
Arndt's Farms, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah, that's my uncle. That's my dad's brother.
Oh, okay.
My dad's brother.
Oh, so, and what school did you go to?
I went to Vilbus. Well, of course, first I went to Bud Sacrament grade school, and then I graduated in 1941 from Vilbus.
Okay.
And then I worked at a grocery store, and then I started working at the Libby Glass.
Oh yeah.
And it was a hot job, hot glass, flying all around. And I started there. I believe it was in like say, maybe October or something of '42. Well, 1943, I got the congratulation letter from the Army. You've been selected.
Oh,
ha ha. So that ended my stint at Libby Glass.
Huh.
Yeah.
So you joined the Army, and that's on a different thing, so we won't go into all that.
I was drafted, yeah.
Yeah, so. Any other things you remember growing up? You were in the Depression, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
Some of that. And
yeah, I remember my dad had a hard time. Of course, I wasn't too young, but it was a case of, well, my mother always said, eat what's on your plate, because it was tough. My dad worked on WPA, that was the Works Progress Administration. President Roosevelt started that. But I never did find out till this day what my dad did. But I know he worked at WPA, and it put a lot of men to work.
Yeah, I know they worked on the zoo.
Oh, they did a lot of buildings. I think they did the fish house out there.
Yeah.
And they did other buildings, and it was enough. Of course, we rented 4 or 5 different places, and every time we get a nice place to rent, the owners or something would want to buy it.
Oh.
So that meant we had to go. Oh. So it was a tricky time, and it was quite an experience.
One of the things I was going to ask you, what houses you've moved around? You know, what streets?
Oh yeah, well,
you lived on
my first house was 2407 Charleston Avenue.
Charleston.
Charleston Avenue, that runs between it's just off of Sylvania Avenue.
Oh, okay, by Berdan, somewhere between Berdan.
Right, Berdan. There's Charleston, and there's Portsmouth.
Okay, yeah, I know where you're at. Yeah, I know where you're at then.
I just can't. Well, anyway, then my dad had a small business in town. He sold radios, In fact, he was one of the first radio men in Toledo.
Oh yeah.
He sold Atwater Kents, and it was quite a big business. Well, here comes the Depression, and that business was gone.
Oh,
The business was gone, so we had to move out to Point Place, and that was terrible. That was awful. Outside John, and then I went to St. John's. I went to first and second and third grades. No, I'm sorry, first and second to Blessed Sacrament. Then I went to Ladyfield for 1 year, and then we moved out to Point Place, and I went to St. John.
Okay.
And we lived there most of the winter. And then we moved over on St. Bernard. Runs off into Colony.
Oh, okay.
St. Bernard Drive into Colony, and we stayed there for a year or two. Then the bank. See, my dad, he did a lot of renting for the bank too. See, and the bank wanted to sell it or so forth. That was the Miehls family on the move. So then we went out to we worked on Grantwood, 2407 Grantwood,
Okay.
and then I went back to Blessed Sacrament.
Okay.
Grantwood runs off of Douglas, and runs back in off of by Coast Park and back in there.
Right.
And then we went, and then we moved over on Westbrook and Miehls. That's it runs between Grantwood and Westbrook. And then my folks, we left there. We had a young fella that owned the place. Well, he wanted to sell it, so that's another move. So then we moved on Melwood Court. That runs off of Tremainsville. It's right across from Start High School.
Okay, yeah, right.
So it's a horseshoe.
Right. Okay.
And then we lived there that's where I was drafted from there, and I had to come back when I was discharged. We were there, and then we moved. My folks bought a house out on 4144 Seacar, which is gone now.
Oh yeah.
It's right across from the Toledo Clinic. There's a lot of buildings there. My mother lived there, but then when my dad died, it was too big for her, so she moved out to Troby. She had a small apartment in Troby. In Troby, it's I can't think of the name of the road. It's off Gay Street and back in there.
Yeah. Right.
And then my mother passed away, and then
When did she pass away?
I think my mother passed away. I think I would say 79.
Oh. Okay.
1979, somewhere in there. And my dad died. Stepdad, he died in 1960.
Oh.
He died in 1960. And then my mother took a job at St. Vincent's. She answered telephones and did a lot of directing for traffic coming in and out. And just luckily, the woman, it was volunteer. So she just worked there for a while, and the woman that would work there passed away. So they wanted to know if my mother wanted to work there, and she said, "Oh yes." So actually, that's the first job my mother ever had.
Oh wow.
She was always staying home, and she liked the place real well, but then she retired.
Okay.
The old St. Vincent's,
Wow.
way down Cherry Street.
Wow.
It's still there. Well, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. But I was born there, and all
I think that's where I was born too.
my two three sons, Dave,
Oh yeah.
Don, and Jim, they were born there.
Oh okay. Well yeah.
And it's still in the old place. Well, it was a little different,
The
yeah.
place everybody goes.
Oh yeah, St. Vincent, that's an old timer.
So, you remember where you were when they hit Pearl Harbor?
Oh yes, we were on Westbrook Drive, 2601 Westbrook, and I guess we just had the radio on. Of course, that's all you had. Radio and movies. That's was your entertainment.
Right.
And it came over. They broke into it. Important news that Pearl Harbor was bombed, and there was World War II. So then I was home. I was home about a year and a half, and then I was drafted, and then that was all that routine.
Where? Excuse me. Where did you and Mrs. Miehls meet? How did you two meet?
Well, that was a funny deal. This good friend of mine, we used to hang around. We used to hang around the VFW at Post 606, and we set up a golf date at the old Valleywood. It wasn't Valleywood, Sunnybrook or Sunnydale. So he said, "I'm going to have somebody come with us. You want to come out?" "Yeah, I'll come out." So thinking it was a man,
Oh.
It was my wife Stella. So that's how we met on the golf course.
Oh, jeez. I didn't know you played golf.
Well, I did a little bit.
Yeah. Now, did Mrs. play golf?
Oh yeah, she when she worked at Owen, she was president of the Owens Golf Club, but she was pretty good.
Wow.
But I was just a duck.
Find all sorts of new things about you too.
So, yeah, so we dated for a while, and we were married in May of 1955.
Oh wow! Wow, that's the same month I was born.
55?
Yeah.
Well, Dave was born in 57, and Don in 59, and Jim in 61.
Okay.
Just 2 years apart. So that's how we met.
Oh, okay. So where did you have your wedding?
I was at Jesu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a good friend of mine was, his name was Kenny Ryan, who has passed away now. He was my best man. And Stella's maid of honor was, oh boy, I imagine the boys. Anyway, she was one of Stella's best friends. She was a maid of honor.
Now, where did Mrs. Miehls live?
Well, her dad, after the Depression, her dad went from bank to bank, closing up the books. And she lived in Canton for a while, and that's where she graduated from high school, Canton McKinley.
Canton, Ohio?
Yeah.
Canton, Michigan. Oh, okay.
Ohio, yeah. Canton McKinley. And then she moved in the Shoreland. She moved in the Shoreland, and then her mother moved away from there. They lived out on Bolt Street. That's out the south end. That's where I met Stella.
Oh, okay.
And then they moved there. We were married when her mother was there, but then her mother moved over on Upton Avenue.
Oh, okay, that's where the Jesu came in.
Yeah, well, Stella was the first. She was the first child to be baptized at Jesu Parish.
Oh yeah.
So that's where she went.
Wow.
Excuse me. And she went to Nathan Hale in grade school. Then of course her dad left Toledo. They hip hopped all over these small towns. Because her dad closed all the banks.
Was he like accountant or something, or?
Well, he did work. Both his mom and dad worked at banks.
Oh.
They worked at banks. And then after the banks closed, I guess he went from job to job, and he finally got a job at the Jeep plant during the war as an inspector. And then he died in 1950. I never met Stella's dad.
Oh, okay.
Stella's father.
Okay. Where did you go on your honeymoon?
Oh, I just bought a brand new 1950 Bel Air Chevy.
Wow.
One of the first ones that Weisenberg ran.
Wow.
So we after we got married and went to our where we stayed that night, and then we took off for California.
Oh wow.
So we took Route 66.
Oh wow.
All the way out to a brand new Chevy.
That sounds
cool.
cool.
Route 66 now. I guess there's only parts of it left.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Then we that was a beautiful trip. We stopped in Las Vegas.
So how long were you gone? That's
a month.
Like a month.
Well, we went a month. Most of that was traveling.
Wow.
I had 4 weeks vacation to start with.
Oh wow.
And
okay.
Stella had 2 weeks. She worked at Kimball Glass out there in Westwood.
Oh. Okay.
They made television tubes.
Oh yeah.
So she took 2 weeks, and we ended up in. Stella wanted to go to. The name escapes me. It's one of the hottest places in California. And then my uncle lived in San Diego.
Okay, that's the one that Dave talks about that's been out there for.
Well, of course he's been dead for quite a few.
Okay.
He was out there. He left. He worked for some oil company. He left there after World War I.
Oh, okay.
So he worked there. We stayed there a couple of days. Then we went right up the coast. We went to Katneel Island, and we visited my uncle, my uncle by marriage. We stayed with him a couple of times, and then we took the route all the way up to San Francisco, where Stella's aunt lived.
Oh wow!
And then we came back the northern way. We came through Denver and Nebraska, and finally got back to Toledo. But going out there, when you go from here to St. Louis, that's just like Toledo, just flat.
Oh right.
But then when you go beyond there, that's when it's really hills and.
Wow.
No, that was quite a deal. A brand new 55 Chevy. That's the first eight to me. Boy, that was a.
Yeah. And that would be one of the next things. What all kind of cars have you had over the years, if you can remember?
Well, I had a couple Chevys. I was strictly a Chevy man. I had a new I had a new 55, a new 57, and that was the only one. And then I had a couple more Chevys, and now I got this 2000 Neon.
Oh.
So I had quite a few.
I remember the Ram? No, the station wagon.
Oh yeah, that
AMC
I
station
forgot
wagon.
about
I remember that
yeah.
one that you had all us kids driving a lot or riding in a lot.
Oh yeah, it was 51 Ford. I can't think of the name of it. It was a nice car.
Oh yeah.
And then we had a station wagon, and that fell apart. And then we had a then we had a 71 Plymouth, real nice, one of those K cars.
Oh, okay.
It was a real nice car, and then we had it until Stella bought Jim's wife's car. It was a brown Buick.
Oh, okay.
And then that I traded that in for this one I have now, 2009.
Oh, okay.
Stella never rode in the Neons. I took her out and showed her all around it, but that Buick was a nice car.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we put a lot of miles on it when we went up north.
Oh, okay. That's right. You were going up north.
Yeah,
that was or something up there.
225 miles one way.
Wow.
I mean that was a beautiful car. It was
yeah.
heavy, but somebody got a nice. It had about almost 200,000 miles on it, but it was in perfect shape. Perfect shape.
Wow.
Some guy got a good deal on that car. So
Huh.
You probably remember that brown. Well, it was more or less a tan.
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah. That was a nice car. It was a 6. No, it was a 4. So
okay. All right.
I've had a lot of cars.
Yeah. Next, memories of each of your children being born, or situations. What was going on when? Do you remember?
I remember Dave. Dave was born here. Well, they're all here, but I remember. It seems to me it was early in the morning when we took off, and of course then your wife had a loan in the labor room.
Oh,
I couldn't.
right.
I was with her for a while, but then I said, "Well, let's go." Now I guess you can stay right there.
Right.
And then of course Dave, he came out, and then there was
on time or late. Or?
Gary. I think. See, I also forgot to mention Stella had a couple of miscarriages.
Oh.
Yeah. See, we always wanted the girl, and they're
Okay.
somewhere, but we just something happened. Well, our blood type was different.
Oh, okay.
Stella had the very AB negative, and that's very rare blood. And then I think I had the regular, like A positive or something, and they didn't mix.
Huh.
So that was the problem there. And then of course Jim or Don came along, and he got the bad effect of the blood difference. So they had to drain his blood and put new blood in. So they did that, and then Jim, he was an 8th month baby. He was an 8th month baby. He came 8 months, and the gentleman that gave Jim he was a fireman. His name was Dan Dugavitz. In fact, his wife still lives right around the corner.
The Dukavich down there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a fireman. He's a fireman, and he had to call his battalion chief to get him off work to come over to St. Vincent's. And he had a blood transfer, Jim, side by side.
Huh.
They were side by side.
Huh.
So then Jim was with 8 months.
Wow.
And Jim sure doesn't show it. He's a rugged individual.
Okay.
They were all good boys.
Yeah.
You couldn't ask for anybody but boys. They were all good boys.
Yeah. And then obviously Dave. Well, I know all your kids are out of town. Dave's in California.
He's in Anaheim.
Now, so I'm assuming you probably weren't able to go visit any of the grandchildren being born or anything.
Oh no.
You probably heard about them over the.
Yeah, we showed pictures of them, of course, and most of the grandkids Stella was able to see, and the latest one, Holiday. She never saw Holiday.
Oh yeah.
She's 2 years old now. Holiday is.
Oh. Okay.
And then Jim's second youngest daughter is oh boy. Well, anyway, she's Stella saw her when she was a baby, but that's the last time she saw her. You know, it's funny. I can't remember my kids' names.
Hey, it happens
Gracie.
sometimes.
Gracie.
Okay.
She's in the 8th grade. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Gracie.
Okay. Was there any special memories of their weddings? Did you went to their weddings? The boys' weddings.
Yeah, Dave was married in. Well, you went to Dave.
Well, yeah, that's when I surprised him. Yeah.
Oh, he was. They had a real nice time, and his in-laws are very, very nice people.
Oh yeah.
Labe is their name. He's a doctor, but he's not a medical doctor.
Okay.
He's got degrees about that long.
Oh, okay.
And I think he's retired now. And they were very nice people. They treated us like royalty. And then, of course, Don, he was married. His in-laws were named anyway, they were married in Cincinnati. So we went down there. So
and he lives in
Don lives in North Homestead.
Over in Cleveland area.
Yes, in Cleveland area, yeah.
Okay.
You know, I can't, the names, I speak these names all the time, but they just...
It's at the tip of your tongue, but it's not there.
Yeah.
So.
And then Jim's married, I can't think of Jim's, I know, but I can't think of Jim's. Wendy's mother and dad are both passed away.
Oh.
They were very nice, friendly people. We always enjoyed going there.
Oh yeah. Now they were from the Columbus area?
Yeah, they lived in Worthington. That's just right around the corner from Dublin. Yeah.
Okay, Dublin.
Yeah.
Dublin is apparently a popular place.
It's very nice town, and Jim said it's really got bigger since Jim was there. Well, a lot of people live there, and then they came up to Columbus.
Oh, okay.
And of course, Jim lives at First and Fifth Third.
Okay.
Oh, Siemens. Wendy's parents' name are Siemens.
Oh, okay.
And I still can't think of boy. I'll come to it another
Yeah. Well, we already went over Pearl Harbor. Memories of where you were when John F. Kennedy was assassinated.
I was at work.
Right.
Yeah, I was at work at Costco Graphics. They were down in Smith and Canton, and we had the radio on, and they played music to keep us awake.
Oh.
And they broke in and said that he was shot, and that's all they knew at that time. But then as it progressed, Don's, I should know this, her brother's on television. Tracy's brother's on television. Yeah,
about that before.
right. Her name there was Hemmer. Bill Hemmer. He's on Fox
okay.
News.
Oh,
and
okay.
that's Tracy's maiden name was Hemmer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I had to backtrack.
That's okay. Martin Luther King. Remember when he passed away?
Yeah, I remember he was shot.
Yeah, I think I was watching Bewitched. They cut in on Bewitched.
Yeah, I don't remember being cut in. I just think I just read the paper.
Okay.
And that was the same way with President Kennedy. That was that was quite a bit of television coverage.
Right,
yeah.
right.
In fact, they almost saw him shot.
Right,
Because
right. The video was going around.
Yeah, he was in that big crowd. Everybody.
And then Robert Kennedy too. The same. They were all.
They were all.
And when that happened
yeah.
too. Oh, remember anything about Watergate and Nixon resigning?
Well, it was
a big to do for a long time.
Yeah, they broke into the Democratic headquarters there, and somebody must have squealed on him.
Yeah.
And of course, President Nixon, they said of course, I don't know how much truth there was. Rather than rat on his friends, he just hushed everything. Well, it finally got to him, and a lot of people don't realize, Gary, that President he opened the door to China.
Right.
And he did a lot of good. He was very well known for his. Of course, he was vice president under Eisenhower.
Right.
And he had a chance for all that Cold War and.
Right.
So Nixon, he did a lot for the country, but usually you're only remembered for the bad thing.
Right.
For the bad thing.
You know, he did a lot of the environmental stuff. He was the president when the environmental stuff came in too. So.
Yeah, he was baptized under Eisenhower.
Oh, okay. Dave had a recording of the resignation of Nixon.
That was
one of the
big.
cassette tapes that I had that he gave me.
Oh, yeah.
So I had heard that,
Yeah. And one of the times in California, he took us to Nixon's library. Very,
Oh, yeah.
very, very interesting. Yeah,
Mhm.
very interesting.
Oh, the blizzard of '78. That was a big thing that
Oh, yeah.
disrupted a lot of stuff.
It sure did. I was off work for 2 or 3 days, and you couldn't get a bus. You couldn't get out of your driveway,
Right.
and no mail. And
I got stuck in my street. Had to push it
oh
back in
yeah,
the
you were just
drive,
stuck.
Yeah.
I know my aunt lived over at Kenilworth. That's near Boston Place. It runs off of Collingwood, and she's single. She was single, never married. So Jim and I put a sled in the back of the car and drove over there, and we parked on Collingwood, and then we walked down with the sled to get my aunt order for some groceries.
Well,
So we got some groceries for her,
jeez.
and I remember digging, and all 3 boys were digging,
Yeah.
and oh boy, that was even they flew in. Excuse me, they flew in Army vehicles, and they got
Yeah.
stuck. They got stuck.
And then I heard there was a
Half tracks and
12-foot drift over
Oh.
a semi, and the only thing they saw was their CV antenna sticking out of this
Oh,
pile of
boy,
snow
yeah.
or something. That
That
you hear
was-
all this stuff, just.
That was something else. That
Hmm. So, where did you work? I think you've probably told me, but I don't.
well, the first I worked just like I said, I worked at Libby Glass, and I worked at a couple of other places. Nothing spectacular. But then I started working at it was a place called Toledo and Randolph.
Toledo what?
Toledo and Randolph.
Oh.
They were down at Smith and Canton, almost
Okay.
downtown,
Oh, okay.
and they made rubber printing dies.
Oh,
They made rubber
okay.
printing dies to print on corrugated boxes. Well, I worked there about 10 years, and then they changed the name. Both Mr. Tolinius and Mr. Randolph, they retired. So they sold the business to some outfit in New York. So we didn't know what to do. We didn't know if what happened. So we joined the union, joined the Teamsters, and they changed the name to Costco Graphics.
Oh, okay.
So the building is still there, but they've been out of business now for quite a while.
Oh.
So I was there 38 years. We had a very
Wow.
nice bunch of young fellas, and
Wow.
we all grew up together. And we all had
Oh, yeah.
children together, and
So, is like an assembly line making these things, or what exactly?
no, it was a
Uh,
process where they would make a Bakelite mold. They'd make a Bakelite mold, and then they put rubber. They put sheets of rubber over the top.
Oh.
Then they put it in heat and pressure,
Oh.
and that rubber would melt right into the mold.
Oh.
And then they
okay.
pull it right off, and there's your die.
Oh.
Oh, they made all sorts of.
Wow.
I was working 60 hours a week. It was.
Wow.
Of course, I didn't make too much to start with,
Right.
but then you were always. We never had any labor trouble, or we didn't want to join the union.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wanted to, but we thought to protect ourselves, we better do something.
Right.
Because
right.
we didn't know this was a big outfit
Right.
in New York, so we.
So they went out of business after you left them?
Oh, yeah,
or-
yeah,
Oh,
they-
okay. So how
yeah,
long
they-
have you been retired?
Since 1988.
Oh, okay.
Since 1988.
Okay.
Yeah. September of 1988. I was 65. Then you had to leave.
Oh, okay.
I could have stayed a couple years longer, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It was. I was up all. I was standing on my feet all the time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it got kind of antsy there for a while.
Okay.
But
Any,
they were both good bosses.
Yeah.
They were both good bosses. So.
So 38 years.
Yeah.
Really.
So a lot of change in the business.
Yeah, I suppose.
At one time, there was only 3 in the country that did it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, at one
Wow.
time, yeah. And then everybody branched out.
And speaking of technology and things that's changed, I mean, you've probably seen a lot of stuff between radios to black and white TVs to
TVs
color
and-
TVs and
And,
VCRs and now cell
iPhones
phones and
cell phones
computers. And people have computers on their cell phone,
Oh yeah, it's really something. Of course, I don't have a computer, as you can notice,
Yeah.
but it would probably take me 2 or 3 hours to learn how to turn it on. So, well, the kids want to get the evening. Well, I'd love to. I really would love to, but I'm getting old now, and it's as long as Bell's in business, that's what I
Yeah,
can.
yeah. Use your.
Yeah, thanks to you, Bell's been in
Yeah,
business.
yeah. So, was there any vacations that you remember with the kids that you went that were?
Well, yeah, We didn't take too many vacations. We'd go to Cedar Point, well, maybe every other year. And one year we went to Niagara Falls, all of us. Yeah, all of us went to Niagara Falls. And then we went down to the Football Hall of Fame down in Canton.
Oh, okay.
And then we went up to the Straits, and then we went to Mackinac Island.
Oh, okay.
And that was a beautiful trip up there. And when we were up there, they were still working on the bridge.
Oh,
They
wow.
were still working on the bridge. That must have been. No, wait a minute. When Stella and I we went there in '57, they were still working on the bridge
Oh,
in
okay.
'57. But then when the kids grew up, the bridge was already there.
Oh.
And we went all up, and we were hoping to see some ships come in, but there wasn't any. There wasn't any coming in. So we had that's a long ways. But now the bridge put a lot of business up again, and brought a lot of hunters up there.
Oh, yeah.
And before you'd have to go up to, I think it was Sheboygan, and then you'd wait in line,
Oh, okay.
and you'd have to get on a boat, and the ferry would take you right across
right.
to St. Ignace.
Yeah.
Now St. Ignace is a big gambling city now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of gambling in Michigan.
Huh. Dave, I remember Dave telling me about after we went on our bike hike to Hocking Hills, or maybe it was before. Dave said something about you guys going down to Hocking Hills on a vacation.
Oh yeah, it was Jim. Jim was with, I think he went with Mr. Gang to some scouting.
Don did?
No, Jim.
Oh, Jim. Oh, okay. Jim was in scout.
Went to some scouting exhibition. I think it was in Pennsylvania when he was a scout.
Okay. Yeah.
You probably, I can't think of the name of the place. So, well, he was on there. Stella and I and Don and Dave went down to Hocking Hills.
Oh, okay.
And I just bought a new bike carrier to put in the back of the car.
Oh, okay.
We had the two bikes there.
Oh, okay.
But when they got down there, they didn't go. They didn't go. So it was too many hills. So too many hills.
Yeah.
So it was.
That's funny.
I think Jim went to a couple of those scouting events.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. He
okay.
met a lot of
Okay.
met a lot of kids.
I didn't realize any of yours went into scout.
Yeah. Jim was a scout. Real.
Oh, yeah.
Don didn't last. Or Dave. Don never went in. But I think Dave maybe ended at Weed Blows or something like that. Yeah. Jim was
I don't remember him being in Boy Scouts. I think.
Yeah, he was in it too long. Well, of course, your dad was in there too.
Yeah.
And one of his scout masters, I think his name was Krasinski.
I don't know.
Yeah, he was a real tall fellow, Krasinski, and he was mostly when Jim was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that might have been later after
It probably was. Yeah.
I think the last one I saw Mr. Clegg.
Mr. Clegg was always there too.
Mr. Gang. Those were the last ones. I left in '73, the Scouts, and
Oh yeah.
so after that, my brothers were in there maybe.
Right.
I don't know if Rick lasted very long in it either.
Yeah.
Okay. Any particular memories of the '40s that you?
No,
I think
the '40s. Of course, I was. I graduated in '41.
So that would you would have been around 18 then? Or
Somewhere in there, yeah. I was
around-
born at 23. And then of course, like I said, I worked at Libby. Then I went to service, and it was mostly rough in the. Well, when the war started, that picked. Excuse me. That picked up some of the country started to boom again.
Oh,
Because they were making war materials. But up till about 40, it was pretty dead.
oh yeah,
It was pretty dead. Well, the whole country.
yeah.
With the depression and banks were all closed but it was amazing how people could live through that.
Yeah.
They could live through that. Yeah. I used to remember we used to buy oleo. It was in regular strips as they do now, and it was white.
Oh yeah.
It was white, and your mom and dad probably remember. Yeah, your mom and dad remember. And they used to have a red powder, and you put the powder in with the oleo, then you'd mix it up by hand, and it come out, and that was butter.
Okay.
Yeah, it was lard. Well, it wasn't lard, but it was close to it. But that was butter. Yeah.
Wow. Huh. Anything on the '50s? Remember the '50s? Anything?
No, in the '40s. After I got out of high school, I worked at Kresge's for a while. I worked for Kresge.
Oh yeah.
And I used to buy records. I had
Oh, wow.
I had one enormous amount of records. They were all for 35 cents.
Wow.
They were bluebirds.
Now those were the 78s?
Yeah, those were 78s. I got rid of a lot of them. I gave a lot of them away, and I had a lot of Glenn Miller. And well, Glenn Miller was the big cheese.
Oh yeah.
Artie
yeah.
Shaw, and they were 35 cents.
Wow.
And then they were bluebirds, RCA. Then the bigger ones, they were the same. They were the same 78s, but they were higher priced. I think they were 50 cents.
Oh yeah.
And of course that all went down the tubes.
Right.
When they had
the 45.
45, then they had
45
LPs, and then it was all tapes and hi-fi.
Yeah, and 8 tracks, which came and went. And
I
I'm still doing cassettes.
Oh yeah.
I'm still using them. And that was going to go into my next thing there in the 50s. Remember when rock and roll came? Was that good, bad, or ugly for you? I mean,
I never cared for rock and roll to this day. I never cared.
Yeah.
I like some of them are pretty good. I like the Beatles music.
Oh yeah.
But actually, people don't. A lot of people won't admit that. But Elvis Presley, he started the rock and roll.
Right.
You know, when rock and roll started, they weren't wild like what they aren't wild like they were now. There were songs, you know, but now they're terrible lyrics and
yeah.
but Elvis
yeah.
Presley, he was
yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
So did you run out there and buy Elvis Presley's records?
No, I never did.
No.
I never bought any Elvis records.
Yeah, the Beatles.
I think Don bought a couple of Beatles. I always liked Beatles music.
Yeah.
They were very good.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good music back then.
Yeah. You know, and of course you put rock and roll in the you know, the rock and roll era started in '55. I mean, the first rock and roll song was Rock Around the Clock.
Right.
That made #1 or whatever. So,
right.
You know, and even so, and you even look at the stuff now, you know, you've got rock and you've got easy listening and you've got, well, now we got rap, but back then, you know, you had all this stuff mixed in with all the pop stuff that was rock and roll, or
it was hard
later on heavy metal and all the other stuff.
Heavy metal, yeah.
That was, you know.
It's hard to separate.
So there was, right, so I mean, if you think about the rock era, there was still the Pat Boones and and all the other stuff in between, you know, that wasn't, you know, necessarily crazy rock and roll, but I'm trying to think of some of the people back then.
I can't.
Doris Day.
She started out with Les Brown's orchestra.
Yeah, so.
Sentimental Journey. That was that was her big hit.
Yeah,
then she went to the movies. I still watching movies on TV with Doris Day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Engelbert Humperdinck and Tom Jones and I mean, there's a lot of names.
Johnny Mathis.
Johnny Mathis and Engelbert. So obviously you said you liked the Beatles stuff. Do you remember anything about the Rolling Stones? Good, bad, or ugly?
That's right. That's right.
The bad guys, the Beatles are the good guys.
I just lost interest.
Oh, okay, yeah. The Osmond Brothers. Remember hearing about the Osmond Brothers when Dave was there?
Yeah. I think they both went in the Navy, I believe. No, that wasn't.
Well, there might have been some.
Yeah, there was two brothers.
Everly Brothers?
Everly Brothers, yeah. They both went to service.
Oh, okay.
I think they went in the Marines.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they're you don't hear much about them anymore.
Right, well, I think, yeah, they had a song in the '85 or something, but theirs was from the 50s.
Yes.
And Michael Jackson came around, 1970, you know, and he was
he was it, Michael, he was it.
Yeah, you liked any of his stuff?
Not particularly,
no. Okay. The only good album was Thriller anyway, so. After that,
I guess that was quite a hit.
Yeah, that was '83. He had 7 hits off of that, and everything went downhill after that.
Yeah.
Did you know anybody that was in the Vietnam War that died there, had kids that died there, or anything? I mean, I know I missed it by that much, being 18, and the war was over 6 months before.
Yeah,
but
it was. No, I don't remember anybody that was in Vietnam. Gary, I don't remember anybody at all.
Okay. I just remember seeing it on the TV all the time.
Oh yeah,
How we, you know.
Korea. My brother was he was in the Korea, but he never got there. The war ended.
Oh.
So he stayed right in Japan.
Oh, okay.
So he was lucky because that's no place to be.
Yeah.
During wartime, there's no place to be.
Right. Well, as long as you were in
oh yeah, it's
World War II there. I listened to your DVD from that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you're
interesting.
Say if you're just gonna get out of high school and you don't know what to do and you're kind of Army, any part of the service is good because you can learn. You learn discipline, you learn to meet people, and you know how to stick up for yourself. And that's and at peacetime, of course, I think it's a 4-year term now.
Right.
But of course, you get benefits.
Right.
You get kind of
and hopefully travel. And
you get a lot to travel, yeah.
So.
Just me, I traveled
right. You sound like you traveled everywhere. Yeah.
I went the Pacific back and forth, and then Atlantic back and forth.
Yeah.
So I had to.
Oh yeah, you were everywhere.
Cross both oceans twice.
Jeez.
Oh, that was.
So, family that you have. You said you had several brothers and sisters.
I have one brother. He lives in. He lives out. I think he lives in. I think it's in New Mexico, I believe.
New Mexico.
New Mexico,
okay.
yes.
Is he still alive?
Oh yeah. David's still alive. And my sister lives on Oak Ridge. My oldest sister is off Lasky.
Oh, okay.
And my sister Angela, she lives in the suburb of California, San Francisco, Burlingame. Burlingame. So I have 2 sisters and a brother.
Okay.
So they're.
And Mrs. Miehls had, I know that's the Finn side, and I've heard some. I know Laura, and how many?
Stella had 3 brothers. She was like the only girl. Her brother Bob worked at High Bell years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He used to climb poles.
Okay.
And
she's the one she always told me about.
Oh yeah, Bob. He was a piece. He used to call him Mickey Finn.
Oh, okay. Is he related? It's not the Mickey Finn that has that
cousins.
Restaurant?
They're cousins.
Oh, okay.
They're cousins, yeah. So he worked there, and he had I think 4 or 5 kids, and they're spread all around too. And Larry, he lives over at Louis Parkway. He has Laura, lives in Toledo.
Okay.
She's a big wheel at the museum.
You're right. Yes.
And then Cheryl, she lives in Mansfield, and Rick, he lives in Cincinnati.
Hmm.
And Rick isn't married. Rick's not married. And he lives in San Francisco, Cincinnati, I'm sorry. And of course, Larry spends a lot of time with Laura because he does a lot of help around.
Right.
She lives on Westbrook, right across.
Yeah.
Right across from Starlight School.
Yeah, I saw her at Lowe's last week.
Oh yeah.
So.
And his wife died. My wife died in 60. Stella died in 64. Oh, 64. My gosh, 84. 94.
2004.
Across my leg. 2004. And Tootie, she died in the late. Well, maybe about 1995 or 96.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Hmm.
I hope the people watching this don't think I'm so forgetful. Oh,
jeez. I wouldn't worry.
It's a good thing. I always told the boys it's a good thing I didn't have girls, or they'd be at me all the time. I have trouble with my boys. I can't.
I remember my dad doing that.
Oh yeah.
It's rattle off everybody's name before he got to the right one, and he's, and you're ready to.
Oh yeah. Every time I'd go out to see Dave, I'd call him Gary. And then when I went out to see Gary, I'd call him Dave. So I bet I haven't seen my brother 5 times in 50 years.
Oh yeah.
He left.
Wow.
He got married, I think, 1960. He married a girl from Sandusky. Then they went. They went to California.
Do you keep in contact with him?
On the phone.
Phone?
Yeah, on the phone. Very seldom I very seldom talked to Dave. He married a Japanese gal. He has 4 kids too.
Okay.
2 and 2.
Now, I know before you went on the honor flight, you had never flown, and well, you had to fly to get over to Europe, didn't you, or did you take a boat? They had a boat.
Took a boat.
Okay.
Yeah. Troop ship.
So so I know that you had gone on a couple of trips to see Dave via the train.
Well, all the time.
So what were those? How'd you like those?
Oh, those are beautiful.
I love those. I'd like to do that.
Yeah, we leave here. You'd get on a train.
It would be the one that's downtown.
Yeah, we get
to Chicago.
From Toledo. Then we get in Chicago, and we'd have a couple hours wait.
Oh.
And then the train left exactly on time from Chicago. That's where the train started. It was called the California Zephyr.
Oh, okay.
California Zephyr. And then you go from Toledo overnight, then you go to Denver.
Okay.
You stop at Denver, you have about an hour layover, and they would load up with supplies, and they'd hook another engine on. You hook another engine on, and you'd go about a mile and up you'd go.
Oh,
Oh, it was.
oh yeah.
It was really beautiful. Stella used to take pictures right out of the window.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yet we had our own compartment.
Now, did you get one of the sleeper things?
Oh
when you were
yeah,
out there? Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
want her and me to.
Yeah, well, you're gonna be down there for 4 days. Is it like 4 days?
Well,
out there, or 3 nights or
no,
something?
we left Chicago. We'll say around 3 o'clock on a Saturday. We'll say Saturday. Actually, it was just about 2 days.
From here to California?
Oh yeah.
Go
Well,
straight through.
from Chicago. Maybe.
Well, you know,
After you got on the train, it was about. It took about an hour and a half to get to Chicago.
Right.
Well, then about. Well, we'll say we leave on a Saturday, we get in L.A. Monday morning.
Oh, okay.
If the trains are on time. But see, a lot of times when we went, I believe it's different now. Say you're going on you're the see, can I drink water?
Sure, yeah. Okay.
Like I said, we had our own compartment, and all your meals and everything were included with your ticket. And the meals were good. They were very.
Oh yeah.
We had white tablecloths and waiters and everything, and it was a real beautiful trip.
How many times did you go out there?
Well, we
Just
started
to see
in 1980. When Dave's first went out there, we started in
Right.
1980, and it went all the way up to 97. That was our last trip.
Oh. Okay.
We were set to go in 99.
Oh yeah. And
Every 2 years, but that's when Stella had the stroke,
Yeah.
and that's the last time we were
Yeah,
there.
I remember me and Jim were walking during that snowstorm that earlier that month when we stopped by here, and I always used to remember stopping by here even when Dave wasn't home, and I would be talking to Mrs. right at the door, and then I'd be standing in the hallway there because I had covered with snow or
Oh, yeah.
whatever. So I'd be talking there sometimes for half an hour or more, and I remember that's the last time we stopped, and me and Jim were walking through the snow and stopped by to say hi and talk to her for a while, and then
Yeah.
it was like a month later.
Yeah, she went. Dave, Jim won a trip. I think he worked at. I know he worked at A.G. Edwards. One of those places he worked, he won a trip for 2.
Oh yeah.
He won a trip to Puerto Rico.
Oh wow.
But I guess Wendy didn't want to go, so he took his mom.
Oh okay.
So he drove it. We had one heck of a snowstorm, and in that January, so he drove from Dublin to pick up his mom and went right back there, and they were there I think about 10 days or so. So at least she had that was in 99. And
Okay.
she got back in the first part of January, I believe, and
Oh,
then
okay.
that was her last.
And that was a cruise type thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh okay. A cruise down in
Cruise.
Mexico. Okay.
And they took pictures.
Oh wow.
They had a beautiful, great big, beautiful hotel
Yeah.
there. So at least she got a nice trip.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course I didn't realize she was into all this painting and
Oh, yeah.
teaching and everything else for years until
Oh, yeah,
after I saw
yeah.
the
She
thing in the
painted me-
paper with it.
She painted before I knew her.
Wow.
That painting there. Well, you can't see it.
Oh yeah, I
in
see
front
it.
of
I see it.
Yeah, you used to see it before the television was there.
Right,
You've probably
right.
seen it
Yeah,
100 times.
yeah, yep. And
So,
of course, we got one of the ones from the auction. You did it at St. Catherine's there, the auction or whatever.
Oh yeah, she sent.
Yeah.
Well, she sent. She used to give them as wedding presents too.
Oh well, yeah, I got that one for of that scene from me and Dave's bicycle hike with the.
Oh, I don't remember.
It was a sunset, I think. Out
Oh,
at Pokagon,
yeah,
and
yeah.
It was a big one.
I know what you mean. I get.
Mary finally gave it back to me after 15 years. And, like she wanted it, you
Yeah.
know. But,
Yeah, I still have paintings here.
so.
All the kids got paintings.
Oh yeah.
All the kids got
Okay.
paintings.
Okay. I remember when she was teaching over there at the
Why? Yeah,
Willie's Park thing. Wasn't
Yeah,
she over there? I'd see her
Eleanor
every
Kale
once in a
Center.
while when I was riding my bike back
Yeah,
home from
Eleanor
work
Kale
or
Center,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Eleanor
So-
Kale tried. She was there about 12 years,
Oh yeah.
and then she was here at the West Toledo Ohio, which is gone. They tore that down.
Oh right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right.
I think it's coordinated with Start High School, I believe.
Yeah, well,
Back
yeah,
in
they
there.
moved well, I ride my bike over there at Bowman, so I
Oh,
see
yeah,
the
yeah.
new school and the new Y, and now
Oh,
they're
yeah.
putting Larchmont across the way there.
Oh yeah.
They're putting the new Larchmont school over there.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, then she first started in the basement. She had 5 students in the basement.
5 what?
Students. She
Oh.
started in the basement.
Oh, she's teaching in your basement.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Wow,
They were kind
okay.
of crowded down there, but there was 5. No, I think there was 4 ladies. Anyway, they started. Then she branched out, and there's a house. Well, not the house. It's a building on Burn Road. It's a. Well, it's not a. It's a. I think it's a professional business world organization. It's called the Westmore. It's apartments. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And she taught there for quite a while. So she was around quite a bit.
Wow.
And they all loved to paint.
Wow.
And she always told them, if you ever stop painting, you'll never start again. So she always told them, when you leave here, if you can, keep painting. So she always loved to do it, and she decided to retire, and so it was good for her. I always
Oh, that's good.
I know we used to go up along the Grand Rapids, Ohio, and fish along the dam.
Oh, okay.
Paint along the dam.
Oh, okay.
And we'd go down behind
Oh, okay.
of the dam, and
Oh,
she'd
okay.
set her easel up, and she'd paint the rocks.
Oh,
in the
okay.
water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we used to have a lot of fun. And then she painted Metzger Marsh.
Oh, yeah.
Metzger Marsh, and she had a beautiful painting of the Marblehead, the lighthouse.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that was a beautiful painting. She did that. So she had quite a few paintings. In fact, like I said, I still got some upstairs that
Oh, yeah.
I don't think she ever finished.
Oh, okay.
But
So they might be like, valuable Rembrandts, eventually.
well, yeah.
You remember when Dave and I went on our first bike hikes? Being Dave, it was kind of underage. He was 18. I was like the oldest one. I don't know if you
Right,
remember
right.
any
Yeah,
of that
Dave
stuff
always
going
loved
on.
those trips.
Oh yeah. I remember that one family that was camped next to us sent a letter to you guys saying how
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
how
Oh,
great we were or whatever.
Good.
I don't know.
how good boys you were, your
Yeah,
boys.
something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that letter.
I think I got a copy of it. I don't know if I got a copy of it. I know Dave, got all that 74 bike hikes, pictures and everything all in one place.
Yeah, that was
But
yeah, I remember going over the high level bridge and picking Dave up with his bike.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. That was the
Oh, that was so
that was
bad.
the one that I told Dave about 10 years ago. I said, you know what, we had to go finish that trip. Come in, let's
Yeah.
rent a bike, buy a bike,
Right.
and we'll go and finish that trip that we started
Yeah.
in 70.
You were heading, was it Carolina you were heading for?
Well, the Smoky Mountains.
Smoky,
what it
oh
was,
yeah.
So
Oh, that's a good trip.
our first one was 100 miles from here to Pokagon and back. The next one was 500 miles out and back. That's Hocking Hills, 250, whatever, out and back, something like that. And then the next one was basically 500 miles out and back to the Smokies or something like that. I don't remember
Oh, yeah, that
exactly
was-
how that worked, but
I know you guys were really interested in that trip too.
yeah, he was our map man. He was our map maker. He was the one who,
Dave?
yeah, he was the one who figured out our routes all the time.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't do
yeah.
that. And back then, I think 2 boys going on a trip, the only place that you could call home was at a pay phone somewhere.
Right.
Nobody had cell phones and,
Right.
and certainly no internet or nothing like that. It's just
Now there's
so
very-
different. So
There's very
different.
few payphones anymore.
Well, right, exactly.
Very few payphones. Time changes.
Yeah.
Time changes.
And I remember thinking, even this last time I was at Hocking Hills, they got McDonald's everywhere. Back then, we probably would have wanted a McDonald's and we couldn't find one because they were around.
Yeah, that's
down
good-
there.
That's a beautiful
So-
place.
Yeah, I like down there. Well, I think we're about. Well, thank you very much for sharing, Mr. Miehls.
Okay,
We'll
yeah.
get this to your boys and.
Is it still